Hello, I'm Diorama, in case you didn't know, and I am here in my target block minigame world, which had quite a bit of success. So maybe you don't know, but I was featured on a video by Cubfan 135, and he used my concept here for what I called the Rangefinder to make Open Sesame on the Hermitcraft server. I was giddy as a schoolgirl. I might have done a little dance, I might have let out a little scream. I would keep the details to myself, but I was excited. And thank you so much for everyone who came over from Cubfan and left a like, left a comment, and in some cases subscribed. Makes me very happy and has lit a fire under me to actually do the tutorials that people were asking for. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump into a very quick demonstration of how this game works. And then we're going to jump over into a tutorial world where I will show you how I built it. So step one is we need to set the difficulty level that we want to have. So I'm going to choose level 5. You just select by using this book from level 1 up to level 15 how much of a challenge you want. Select that, press this button to reset the whole system, and then we can walk in. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to open this door. This wall is going to move out the way for us to allow us to progress. To do that, we need to stand on this pressure plate and fire an arrow at that target block. You can see it lights up, and you can see the wall behind has disappeared, allowing me to progress onto the next level. Stand on the pressure plate again, fire the arrow again, and we are through. Essentially, you keep doing this, working your way all the way back to the end. You can make it as long or as short as you want, and then, well, then you're a winner. Told you that would be very quick. If you want to see a full run through of how the game actually works, then have a click on the link down in the description below, either for my original concept video or for Cubfan's Hermitcraft video where he explains and he adds some extra stuff that you could do using the same theory. So what we're going to do now is jump over into the tutorial world where I will show you how it's built up and how you can build it up block for block. Let's go. And here behind me, you can see into the belly of the beast. This is what it takes to make the Rangefinder game. So let's have a quick look around this as it's constructed, and then I'll get into showing you block for block how you can make it. First, I want to show you what these different mix of blocks actually represent. So glass represents structural blocks that play no part in the redstone circuitry. They can be pretty much anything that you want them to be. Redstone blocks are structural blocks that you can see and also form part of the circuitry. So for the most part, they need to be non-transparent, hence why you can't use glass for these. The different colors of wool are just the different circuits, and it's pretty standard for making redstone stuff, just to keep stuff separate. Starting around the back, we've got the target block over here, and then we've got a comparator, and that runs into a block and then a repeater, and that sends the signal all the way down this pink line, and that's going to run the length of the game. So depending on how many doors you want, you'll have to make this longer and longer, obviously having a repeater every 15 blocks to make sure the signal carries all the way down. Then you've got the pressure plate where people will stand, and all that is just a pressure plate and then a redstone torch on the side of the block that the pressure plate is on. With those two things, if a player is standing on that pressure plate and shoots the target, both of these redstone torches will turn off, and that will turn off this redstone wire here. That will allow this redstone torch to turn on, and that will then power this little circuit down the bottom, which is essentially a power storage or power memory unit. So once this is powered, once this blue section is powered, it will stay powered even when this torch then turns off. So we can simulate that. We just break that so the torch will power, and you can see this blue section is now all powered. And that then in turn is powering the green section, which is what opens my door. If I then put a redstone back, that's going to depower this torch, but the blue section down here will stay powered. And you need that because otherwise, as you're making your way back, the door will close in front of you and you won't be able to see the target. That's pretty important. But at the end of the game, you actually need to be able to close all of the doors, so then you need a reset line, and that's achieved using this purple line running down here. So that's just a button up the top, and then one block underneath that. We've got a block with redstone on top running into a repeater, and that runs down this line. Every time it meets this blue section, there's a repeater running into the side of the comparator on this side. So if I press that button, now you can see after powering this line and powering this repeater, the blue circuit here is depowered, which in turn repowers this to close our door. Finally, you've got the level selection. So here you've got a lectern with a book with pages from 1 to 15, and just numbered it 1 to 15. You could write something here if you wanted. And then you have a structural block that you can see, same with the button, and that runs into a comparator which powers this wool and the redstone on top of it, which powers a comparator going into the side of the comparator coming out the back of the target block. So whatever page you select in the book will be the power of this redstone line, and that will then determine what you need in order to activate this target block. The final component then is just this redstone line running up to the redstone lamp that just gives you an indication of whether you've hit this with enough accuracy or not, so you know you can start moving back. I think for a lot of you that's probably going to be all you need in order to recreate this for yourself, but for anyone who's interested in a block by block of each of those circuits and how they all fit together, stick around. That's coming up now. The first thing we need to do is to build up or dig down, and we need to have 6 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we can plonk our target block on the top of that. Now these blocks we don't actually need, so we can break all of those, but that gives us our starting point for this circuit. Next thing that we need to do is to come out the back and put a comparator, and then a block for that comparator to go into, and then a repeater coming out the side of that block. Then we're going to come across 1, 2, 3, 4, plonking some redstone dust on top of those. Then we need to come down 1, and then we need to come out. So I'm just going to put some random number of blocks along there, because at this point you need to decide how far away from the target you want your first shot to be taken. So for example, if I wanted to come, let's say I wanted to be 5 blocks from for the first shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want my pressure plate to stand on to be here, right? So what we need to do then is opposite from this, we're going to put a redstone torch, and then we're going to count 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to put another redstone torch on the side of this. Okay, and depending on how long you want to build that, you need to keep going. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, redstone torch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, redstone. And then we need to go back up here. We need to make sure we've got a redstone line running all the way down this pink, but we're going to run into a power problem, so we need to make sure we've got repeaters every 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That one needs to be a repeater, and then you would count 15, and then the next one would be a repeater again. You can test that very easily. If we just put a torch under there, that will power that, and now we can see that that line is powered all the way down. The redstone torches along the side are turning off, so that is working. The next stage is to make sure we've got the pressure plate for the player to stand on. So for that, we're going to put in a non-transparent block, something that conducts redstone. So you could use red sandstone like I have, you could use wool, you could use stone, you could use a dirt block. Lots of things will do the trick. Not glass, not glowstone. Hopefully you know the difference there. We're going to put a pressure plate on top, a redstone torch on the side, and then to make sure that we get an and, we're going to put a block in the middle of these two torches with a redstone dust on top and a torch on the side. This is a very simple AND gate. If this and this redstone torch are off, that will turn off this redstone dust and turn on this torch. And because that means we've got a signal here, this will then turn on. So let's put that along here all the way. So just go through it once more with everybody. Non-transparent block, pressure plate, redstone torch, block, dust, redstone torch. That's as simple as that is. So I'm just going to put on the rest of these and then we'll move on to the next stage. The next stage then is making sure that once this goes on once, it stays giving a signal to our door. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to come down by 2 and put a block. We're going to put some redstone on top of that. That will get powered by this torch when it comes on. Then we come 2 across here, 2 across here, and 1 up. So you've got kind of another way of looking at this is 3, 3, and then 1 on each corner. And what we want to do now is to put a comparator running into this block, a comparator running into this block, redstone on here, redstone on here. So when this is powered, that's going to power this redstone. That's in turn going to power this comparator, which is going to power this block. Because this block is powered, this redstone gets powered, and this comparator gets powered, which again powers this block. So now you've got a circuit that powers itself, which normally is quite annoying, but here is really useful. So even if this torch is not on, it's still going to power itself. So now we want to make sure we've got a way to unpower this so that we can reset the whole game. So I'm just going to quickly go through and put all of these in for you, and I will come back and we will build the reset in just a second. Right, the first thing we need to do when deciding how to build our reset is decide where do we want our reset button. For the sake of compactness, I'm just going to put it directly diagonal from the recut. The first thing we need to do when deciding how to build our reset is to decide where we want the reset button. For the sake of keeping the whole thing compact, I'm just going to put it diagonally in front of this target block. That's pretty much as small as you can get it. You could equally put it over this side, but here is going to be fine. So we put a non-transparent structural block, remembering that you'll be able to see this, so it needs to be part of your final build. And we put a button onto here. We come down 2 blocks, so we've got a block gap. I forgot to get redstone ready. And we put redstone on here. So this is our basic start. What we're going to do now is just come out here and we're going to put a repeater. The reason for doing it that way is you're going to want to have some sort of floor on here. And so you don't want to have a redstone line running down because it's going to get cut off. Now we need to make stairs coming down. So this will depend how high up your button is, exactly how this is going to work. But for me, it's just stairs coming straight down here. And then we're going to go over to the first of these holding circuits. And we're going to put a repeater. And we're going to run redstone dust back to... Oh! excuse me. You're going to need to make sure that the block next to the repeater is flat. Sorry about that. So then we run redstone dust right the way to this repeater. And then when we press that button, it's going to send a signal down to here. And that's going to reset this. The other thing that you'll want to do is to right click this comparator to put it on subtract mode. And just make sure that it resets every time. Okay, so now we just run this along. Get rid of the random ones that I always seem to make. We make sure we've got little prongs, repeaters running into all of those, all of the comparators on the subtract mode, and then we run our redstone dust. And then just like with the pink line from the target block itself, we need to count and make sure we've got repeaters every 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so 15 would actually be a bit difficult because if we put this here, it's not going to power this line. So we'll put it at 14 and then we can count again and put the next one wherever seems sensible. There you go, that's your reset line all done. The next part is going to be building up the door. I'm just going to do a 3 high, 1 wide. You could do a 2, as long as it can stop people getting through. You could even do a 3 by 3 if you're feeling really fancy. And to do this, we're going to come out here and put 3 pistons like so. When these are extended, obviously this door will be closed for people walking through. When they unextend, when they retract, that's the word, then it's going to pull the door out the way. Now on the side, we're going to put a block with a redstone dust on top. We're then going to come down to here and put a redstone torch. At that point, you should see it all close. Next, we need to get the redstone signal from our lock mechanism up to here. So we're going to put a redstone on top of there. We're going to come into the middle above the comparator. We're going to come up another one here. We're going to come across. And all we need to do is to put redstone on those. So now when this turns off, our door closes. And we should be able to test it. We should be able to test the reset as well. Okay, so that is actually the full logic of how the game works and how the game resets. The only thing left to do now is to put in the level selector and the redstone lamp indicator. So let's move on to that right now. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to make sure you've got a book. And on that book, you just need to write something or just flick through to make sure you've got 15 pages. You can write anything on here just to prove it. I'll put a space there and say hi on this one. It makes absolutely no difference. And then we can click done. Next, we need to put down a lectern. Put the book on the lectern. Behind the lectern, you need another one of those non-transparent structural blocks. So again, for me, that's going to be the redstone. And then we're going to put a wool, a comparator, another wool here with a redstone dot on top, another wool with a comparator, and that's it. That's all you need. That just tells whatever this is selected here gets transported through to here. And then the last bit is just the redstone lamp indicator. So for that, we're going to put a block here, a block here, a block up the top, 2 blocks, and a redstone lamp. And on these, you want redstone. You need a repeater going into here, and then we can just run that along across the top. So now when we hit that, if I just grab a bow and arrow, now when we hit that, it all lights up. And that, believe it or not, is it. Obviously, you're going to want to dress it up a little bit. I would suggest putting walls along here to hide the pistons. So I can use glass, or more sensible for actual decoration would be to use something similar to what the door is, right? This side you could keep open if you wanted to, or you could put a wall, or you could do what Cubfan did and put a door in there if you want people to be able to get out more easily. And that's pretty much it. You can place the floor, whatever you want to do. It's all about decoration from there. So let's do a quick run through just to show that it's working. Stand on here, hit that, and we're done. Stand on here, hit that, and we're done. You can see it's done because that lights up. Obviously I haven't put the piston door in, but you can copy this one and do it all the way down. Whew! There we go. I went through that pretty quickly because I did sort of 2 lots. I did a look over from the start and then I did a block by block. So hopefully that will do for your tutorial on how to build this. But one little bonus thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to show you how Cubfan achieved the same result using different redstone, because you don't actually have to use the exact circuits that I've used. As long as the basic logic is the same, you're going to get the same result. So let's go and have a look at what Cubfan did. I just had a look at his video, and as he suggested, retroactively rebuilt it, and let's see what the differences are. So here we have the 2 designs side by side. On the left is my original design, and on the right is how Cubfan managed to do it. And you can see the functionality is the same. I come on here, I shoot, it opens the door. Go on here, I shoot, woo, opens the door. And if I go over to Cubfans, it will do exactly the same. And over here, boom. Right, so you can see, and then we can go to either of them, press the button, everything resets, and over here, everything resets. So the functionality is exactly the same. I was just fascinated when he was doing his demo at how he did it as opposed to how I did it, because what he did was he actually had it so that you've got a locked repeater here, and when you stand on the pressure plate it's powering this, but because it's locked it won't let that power through. And so then when you fire into here, you can just see it's quite quick, but this repeater deactivates because of the redstone line there, which allows the power into this block. That then activates the dropper, which fires an item into there, which then powers everything, right? So just show you again. So now standing on the pressure plate, the redstone here, this redstone here is powered by that, which should power this repeater, but because it's locked it doesn't. But then when you fire, that unpowers, which unlocks this repeater and allows this item to get shot across. And then what he did for the reset was he had a line going round that just fires the item back into here, and it also fires this line again, which allows this repeater to unlock. This one is already unlocked, is already off, because you need to unlock it for it to turn off again, because at the moment it's still on because that's what position it was locked in. So if you press the button here, you can see it all turns off, everything resets, the items are now back in this side. I just thought it was very interesting to see how he did it slightly differently. As it turns out, it's pretty similar in terms of size doing it this way as well. The height is actually the same. His looks one lower, but that's because I had to put these down into the floor because I got a little bit wrong on that side. His way is slightly wider because the reset line needs to come out all the way around here, but pretty similar actually. Just thought it was very interesting to see how he did it a different way, and thought maybe other people might be interested to see how he did it compared to how I did it as well. There are more than one way to skin a cat. That's what the saying is. Don't skin cats. Bye.